Good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga, Pilipinas. Good morning to all our viewers from across Southeast Asia and beyond. Thank you for taking time to join us this morning. My name is Kim Bantayan, and I am a program specialist of SEARCA's Training for Development Unit of the Education and Collective Learning Department. This SEARCA Online Learning and Virtual Engagement Webinar, or SOLV for short, is SEARCA's immediate response to the emerging impacts of COVID-19 global pandemic on food security by maximizing the use of information and communication technology platforms to inform, educate, and share evidence-based solutions and tested technologies as well as best practices on the ground. The short video shown earlier has given you a glimpse about SEARCA and what we do. SEARCA is hosted by the Philippine government on the campus of the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. So we are coming to you live from Los Baños, Laguna, the special science and nature city of the Philippines. The SOLV webinar series took a break last week, but we had an interesting and highly engaging webinar series on agriculture value chains, financing, and investments for the month of July. For the whole month of August, our online conversation will revolve around the theme Gender and Youth in Agricultural and Rural Development. Under the 11th five-year plan of SEARCA, we recognize the unique and important role of young people in agricultural transformation in Southeast Asia. We hope that this webinar series on gender and youth in ARD will serve as a platform to discuss the problems and challenges that directly impact the lives of our young people, including women, as well as those who want to go into farming, as well as share their solutions and successes. We all know that young men and women who want to go into farming face other obstacles, such as limited access to financial services. At this point, we would like to inform everyone that the Philippine government, through the Department of Agriculture, recently launched 2 loan programs totaling 2 billion pesos in funds to encourage young Filipinos to go back into farming. Under the management of the Department of Agriculture's Agriculture Credit Policy Council, or ACPC, the Capital Access for Young Agripreneurs, or KAYA, and agri-negosyo loan programs is there. They are there to provide financial assistance to young Filipinos. Agri-negosyo in particular offers cash loan amounting to from 300,000 pesos to 15 million pesos to individuals and institutions who are already engaged or are interested to establish micro and small agribusiness enterprises. This program will certainly give young men and women the jump start they need for their business. The Department of Agriculture also plans to establish models of development, business models of development to engage the youth in agriculture and agribusinesses. But before we proceed to our online conversation this morning, please allow me to quickly go over some very interesting statistics gathered from our webinar last July 22nd. The infograph shows that 67% of our online viewers last July 22nd were female and the rest were male. This has been the consistent trend over the past 12 SOLV webinars that we've had, where women consistently dominated our online attendees. The infograph also indicates that 189 individuals tuned in via Zoom, while more than 200 viewed the webinar through SEARCA's Facebook page. And lastly, we are happy to note that we've had online attendees not only from the Philippines, but also from Canada, USA, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Singapore. Allow me now to quickly go over the program flow for today's webinar, which is currently shown on your screen. After my introduction and a few housekeeping points, our first speaker, Dr. Kritsachai Somsaman, will present SEAMEO's various programs for the youth. It will be followed by Dr. Nomura Nakao's presentation on the agricultural sciences as a study field in higher education institutions in Japan. Dr. Eufemio T. Rasco Jr. follows with some key lessons for the youth to be actively engaged in agriculture. And last but not the least, Dr. Doracie Zoleta-Nantes will share with us her experiences and plans as president of Southern Luzon State University in designing innovative curricular programs and pedagogical approaches to entice more youth to study agriculture. The question and answer session follows after all the presentations, and Mr. Nathan Felix, SEARCA's Public Relations Associate, will be joining us, and he will be moderating the Q&A session this morning. I know you are all excited to listen to our speakers, but let me first encourage you to send us your questions. How? For those of you who are tuned in via SEARCA's Facebook page, you may type your questions in the comment section. If you are registered and tuned in via Zoom, please post your questions or comments in the Q&A section that you see at the bottom or top of your screen, depending on the gadget you are using. We will collate the questions, and once we are in the Q&A session, our speakers will address them in the time remaining. May we request you to kindly indicate your location and our country of origin now. It would be good for us to know where you are watching this webinar. We also encourage you to please like SEARCA's Facebook page by pressing the little thumbs up sign just below the cover photo for us to remain socially connected. By liking our Facebook page, you will regularly receive updates on our learning events, webinars, and postings on recent developments in agricultural and rural development. Please note that today's webinar is being recorded and will be made available on SEARCA's Facebook page and YouTube channel. You may also subscribe to SEARCA's YouTube channel. Today's presentations will also be made available on SEARCA's website at www.searca.org. The slides shown during the past webinars have already been posted on our website. We will also be live tweeting this webinar, so you can join in the conversation using the hashtag SEARCASolve. If you have issues or experiencing technical difficulties with the Zoom online platform, please email my colleagues at solve@searca.org. Moving on to the webinar. And while we are waiting for our speaker to share his screen, our first speaker is the Deputy Director of the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization's Secretariat, or SEAMEO Secretariat, and strengthens, in this role, he manages the digital transformation of SEAMEO Secretariat and strengthens the organization of its crisis and response capability. Prior to joining SEAMEO Secretariat, he served as a senior officer at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta, Indonesia. A former director of Science Media Division of the National Science and Technology Development Agency in Bangkok, Thailand, his works on science communication significantly contributed to bridging art and science, thereby enhancing public awareness on science and technology in Thailand. He produced a science TV program titled The Little Scientist House, which was awarded the Mekhala Award for Best Animation Series. He was also the music composer and sound engineer of this TV program. He also had some occasional hosting stints in a national TV program titled Science Guide, where he explained the scientific and engineering concepts underlying every featured destination. With that, let me now turn over the screen to Dr. Somsaman. Dr. Somsaman?
Thank you so much, Mr. Rosario.
Yes, thank you also.
Good morning from Bangkok, and good afternoon, good evening for participants on all other regions. First of all, I would like to thank CBO SEARCA for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this wonderful SEARCA Solve with all distinguished speakers and splendid participants and viewers today. I would like to introduce all of you to some SEAMEO program for youth. These are part of SEAMEO wide varieties of programs and projects that SEAMEO Secretariat and 26 SEAMEO centers and network in collaboration with our partnering institution and government of SEAMEO member countries have established to help addressing issues of human capability development in the region. Let me share my slide. I have chosen 5 categories to show to you all. And within these 5 categories, I have chosen program and project that involve agriculture especially. So I will talk about SEAMEO work on academic mobility, webinar and lecture, awards and activities, and then on the conference. First one is the academic mobility. Academic mobility is an opportunity for students or teachers to go study or teach in another institution outside of their own country for a limited time. There are a lot of benefit for joining academic mobility programs. You can experience international learning and exchange, language acquisition, and cultural awareness. You can gain more interest in the regional and global issues, and also you can get that you can obtain the credits for your academic requirement. And also, it's an internationalization of education. The first program I want to introduce is CTVET. It's Southeast Asian Technical and Vocational Education and Training. It's to promote student exchange, staff exchange, cross-country industrial attachment, and internship programs and research collaboration. Student exchange will be performed by TVET institution. The number and the duration will be decided by participating schools, colleges, or polytechnics. Ideally, the minimum duration for student exchange is 1 month to 3 months, or even the 1 year. But considering various school capacity, an institution may have shorter duration of student exchange. The detail of implementing student exchange, such as harmonizing curriculum for possible matriculation and recognition, arranging the student travel, and prepare the departure program. It's available on the website of the CTVET, and also we have the guidebook for the CTVET also. I picked the CTVET because one of its main priority area is agriculture and fishery. Currently, 153 institutions have been participated in this CTVET program. And we have a different batch. This is currently, it's the 5th batch of the student exchange for CTVET. Other program, we also have a CTVET teacher exchange program, which the CTVET program, it's for students, but CTVET teacher exchange program will expand the exchange, the academic mobility to CTVET teacher as well. And this year is the first batch of CTVET teacher. Also, we have the C-Teacher program. Also, C-Teacher is a pre-service student teacher exchange in Southeast Asia. The program is aimed to provide opportunity for pre-service student teacher from university in Southeast Asia to have teaching experience in school in other countries in Southeast Asia. The exchange is for 4th-year students whose major are in math, in science, in English, and in preschool. The duration is for 1 month. Student role and responsibility are assigned weekly for the 1 month period, just as observe, assist in teaching, and also teach in the institution. Moreover, the host university will provide mentor to supervise and monitor the student throughout the practicum period. Currently, the participating countries are Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, and this year we also have Japan joining us as well. I think maybe Dr. Nomura, another speaker, we'll talk about that also. For C-Teacher, we have about 80 institutions participating, and for CTVET teacher exchange this year, we have 59 institutions participating. And we also have another program for university students, which called AIMS, or ASEAN International Mobility for Students Program. AIM is hosted by SEAMEO Right, another center under SEAMEO families. It's a pilot program. It was pilot in 2010 with the participation of Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. And it's expanding to participating countries, including other Southeast Asian countries as well as ASEAN plus 3 countries. The AIM program is recognized as a regional flagship model for promotion and enhancement of mobility. And currently, it includes 9 member countries and 78 universities that offer exchange opportunity for undergraduate students across the 10 academic disciplines. I have listed the 10 academic disciplines. You can see that agriculture is number 1 in here. We also have biodiversity, engineering, environmental management, science, food science, technology also. So this is the opportunity that you can join in terms of the academic mobility with under the exchange program. But for this year, there is some glitch over the COVID-19 pandemic emergency. The TUET program has been postponed until next year. So there is still opportunity, a lot of opportunity for us for you to join in the teacher TUET and the AIMS program as well. The second one I would like to talk about is our lecture series and webinar. It's to share teaching and learning innovation and experience during COVID-19. SEAMEO Secretariat invite TUET and university students and teachers in Southeast Asia country and beyond to join the special teacher TUET lecture series. This one is a newly launched program which will launch tomorrow, and it will occur every Thursday in this month of August 2020. We have a lot of lecture series, a great deal of submission from across Southeast Asian. The video clips with teaching on specific topics, and we select the best one to present to you, so you can enjoy the lecture series and learn a lot on the different topics. The first one that we have tomorrow is under the theme of mobility and teaching innovation in the new normal. Tomorrow, 6 August at 10 to 11:30 Bangkok time, or that should be 11 Philippines time. And we also, for the week after, for the week of 13 August, the topic is teacher education. And the third week, which is 20 of August, we have technology and smart agriculture, which most of you might be interesting, and I'll invite you all to join our C-Teacher TUET lecture series. And the fourth one of this month would be on modern business, which will be on 27th of August. We also provide certificate to participants. No need to pre-register to attend the session. You can scan the QR code below or checking SEAMEO Secretariat website. We will have the information posted over there, and you can just simply click the link to join. And to receive the certification, we will have a certification validation form after the session. The third one that I would like to talk about is an award. We also have award given to certain activities. And this one, it's relevant to you all, that I would like to present to you. It's a SEAMEO Japan ESD Award. It's in the collaboration with the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sport, and Science and Technology of Japan, or MEXT, and also UNESCO Asia Pacific Regional Bureau for Education. And this one, it's the award has been held annually since 2012. all public and private kindergarten, elementary, secondary, vocational, and technical school in 11 Southeast Asian countries are invited to submit information about your program or project or initiative that are related to the theme of this year's competition. The theme is presented on the screen. The theme for 2020 is addressing plastic problem for transforming communities. The submission deadline is 14th of August, which coming closer. The first prize winner will receive the $1,500 and also a study tour to Japan. We will sponsor the travel expense for 6 persons, include a round trip airfare accommodation for 3 nights, domestic transportation in Japan, interpreter and visa fee. The second prize winner will receive 10,000 USD, and the third prize winner will receive 500 USD. And also we have a special prize from the SEAMEO Secretariat for the best program carried out in small school of less than 250 students, which the price of 1,000 USD. Again, once again, this year theme is addressing plastic problem for transforming communities. If you have a program projects, you can submit the information of your program project to the link that you have seen on the screen. Last year, we have the topic of building peace in schools and community. You can see the first prize is from Philippines, and the topic under the name of a Kindness for Peace project. It's from South Hill School Incorporated. Another project I'd like to mention is Smart Bee program for Biotrop. This project is on it's an establishment of school fruit garden for education, promotion, production, genetic conservation, and entrepreneurship in agriculture, vocational senior high school in Indonesia. It's called Smart Bee. It started in February 2018. The program is to support the learning process to improve knowledge and skill of agricultural vocational senior high school students on proper fruit tree cultivation, seedling production, fruit production, post-harvest handling, processing, and marketing, and also the conservation of a local variety at school. The school play a significant role in disseminating the knowledge and the skill to the surrounding community and farmer as well. This is a project from one of our center in Indonesia of the CBO Biotrop. Biotrop conduct a training course on the best practice of fruit tree cultivation and conduct a training course on fruit processing from school. So not only planting, it's also have the post-production. The total number of 13,500 fruit tree seedling from various species and varieties already distributed to school. And they also conduct soil sampling at school garden also. We think that this program, it potentially could be implemented in other SEAMEO member countries. Also, it could be facilitated by SEAMEO Secretariat and also Biotrop. And Biotrop will also help in maintaining communication and visiting the participating school, and also promote the school to become a reference school to other school and community. As I say, although this project started implementing in Indonesia, we hope that the project could be implemented in other countries as well. The project led to successful implementation in many schools and benefit both the development of student knowledge and capability, as well as benefiting the surrounding community also. The last project that I would like to talk about is CBO Congress 2021. In terms of knowledge and policy discussion, CBO usually hosts an important event called CBO Congress every 4 years to make it a platform for discussion on the future direction on education. There will be policymakers such as a minister and a high official from several member countries joining this event, which will be hosted in Bangkok, Thailand, tentatively during 28 and 29 April 2021, here in Bangkok, Thailand. A theme of CBO Congress 2021 is transforming Southeast Asian education, science, and culture in the digital revolution. We can see that a lot of things happen, a lot of changes coming after the COVID-19 pandemic, and even education is also being transformed to a new paradigm. This event, the CBO Congress 2021, will address the issue of this transformation. There will be several sub-themes for plenary session and paper presentation, such as action for people transformation, action for digital transformation, transforming education toward sustainable communities, transforming education system and for quality learning outcomes. And what be of interest of youth here are events underneath the sub-theme of one is the building a future for the alpha generation. So that would be very relevant to the audience here. And also another sub-theme is STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math education design for improving the quality of the workforce. Further information will come out lately, and I wish all of you could join this magnificent event in April 2021. I think that's all for my presentation today, and if you have any question about the youth program that I presented to you, please contact SEAMEO Secretariat via our social media channel, which I have shown in the slide here. It should be easier for this generation to contact us using all the social media. And thank you so much. I would like to give back the floor to the moderator. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Somsaman, for introducing to us the various programs of SEAMEO geared towards the youth and also the teachers in Southeast Asia through academic mobility. You mentioned about academic mobility, webinars and lecture series similar to this one that we're holding now, awards related to environment and sustainable development, and projects on establishment of school fruit garden for education, genetic conservation, and entrepreneurship in agriculture, vocational senior high schools in Indonesia. It will be worthwhile to note, Dr. Somsaman, that SEARCA is currently implementing an online training course on school and home gardens, biodiversity enhancement for the teachers in Busuanga, Palawan. We're now on our 4th session.
Yes.
And yes, there's an online training session tomorrow. Yeah, this one is for the teachers in the Department of Education in Palawan. So we also hope that the teachers watching this webinar have taken note of the various awards that SEAMEO is giving out, particularly the SEAMEO Japan Education for Sustainable Development Award. And it is good to know that the recipient of this SEAMEO award last year was one of the private schools located here in Los Baños, Laguna. Yes, the South Hill School Incorporated. And for this year, 2020, please take note of the deadline for submission of entries. It is August 14. That will be next week, with the theme addressing plastic problems for transforming communities. Please visit the SEAMEO Secretariat website for more details about this prestigious award. Thank you so much, Dr. Somsaman. We'll get back to you during the Q&A. Our next speaker this morning is currently the Director of the Division of International Exchange Support, Global Commons, as well as the Regional Director for Southeast Asia at Global Office of Global Initiatives, University of Tsukuba, Japan. So from Thailand, we go to Japan. He is also serving as a national representative from Japan for the Steering Committee of AIMS, or the Asian International Mobility for Students, program organized by SEAMEO Regional Center for Higher Education and Development, or SEAMEO REHAD. His research is centered on bioprocess engineering, particularly the application of biotechnology for environmental renovation or food production in collaboration with international partners. He is also an associate professor at the Faculty of Life and Environmental Sciences, University of Tsukuba. Over to you now, Dr. Nomura.
Hi, thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Nomura from University of Tsukuba. So I'd like to share my screen with you. So first of all, I'd like to extend my gratitude to the SEAMEO SEARCA, especially Director Dr. Gren, to provide the opportunity for me to deliver the talk, focusing on the youth disengagement of agriculture. This program is not only in the country where agriculture industry is a major industry like ASEAN countries, but also in Japan as well. Especially in the higher education institution, this phenomena is obvious as a student studying agriculture as a major is decreasing. So we have been trying to cope with this situation by seeing the trends, and we take some actions. So in my talk, just about 15 minutes, I'd like to share what we have done to attract more students to major in agriculture. So the first slides, I'd like to introduce what is Tsukuba, because some of you may not have never heard about Tsukuba. To be familiar with Tsukuba, where is Tsukuba? Tsukuba is a bit about 60 kilometers from the capital of Japan, Tokyo, northeast. And this is overview of sky view of the Tsukuba, and about 45 minutes train ride from Tokyo. From my personal impression, that Tsukuba, I feel very familiar with Los Baños with Tsukuba. I used to stay in Los Baños for a few months as a visiting scholar in UP Biotech. And I feel familiar because not only by the distance from the capital, but also that we have a unique mountain with a unique shape. You can see in the photo with Twin Peaks mountain. This is a symbol of Mount Tsukuba. And you have a Mount Makiling in Los Baños. And behind this photo, it's not included in the photo, but we have a second largest lake in Japan called Kasumigaura, where in Los Baños, you have Laguna de Bay. It's also a large water basin. And also the Los Baños and Tsukuba are serving as one of the largest hub for the science and technology for the agriculture. So I feel very similarity with Los Baños. And Tsukuba is not standing only for the University of Tsukuba. Actually, Tsukuba is the largest science city in Japan. And most of the research institutes are gathered in Tsukuba. And the Japanese government launched it as a science city, Tsukuba Science City. So about 32 national research institutes, this is about 30% of all national research institutes is gathered in Tsukuba. And of course, private research institutes, more than 200 gathered in Tsukuba. You can see the list is. Then this institute includes a lot of research institutes for agriculture, food, environment. That's why I could say that this is one of the hub for the research and science and technology for the field of agriculture. And in University of Tsukuba, actually we used to be in Tokyo before the establishment of this Tsukuba Science City. But in line with this launching Tsukuba Science City, we moved from Tokyo to Tsukuba. When University of Tsukuba was in Tokyo, the name was the Tokyo University of Education. And as we moved to Tsukuba, we became more comprehensive, and we changed the name as University of Tsukuba. And in Japan, we have more than 700 higher education institutions, but the Tsukuba is ranked in the top 10 comprehensive research university. And one of the unique points of Tsukuba is we have a lot of international students. The ratio of the international student is one of the maybe highest or second highest in the national public universities. And when our route in the Tokyo used to be a Tokyo Higher Normal School. So that means our origin is education. That's why we also selected as only one affiliate member of SEAMEO. That's why we have a lot of activity with SEAMEO. as Dr. Kritsachai introduced, we joined the Sea Teacher Project, one of the flagship projects organized by SEAMEO Secretariat. And also we actively joining student mobility program called AIMS, organized by the SEAMEO Right-Head, one of the center and the SEAMEO Secretariat. Then we define as a mission of the university as a creation of knowledge. This is, I think, almost same with all the university in the world. But the direction of this mission is we set as like for solution of global issues, and also as a globally open university, and also the to respond to the change of the society, we keep reforming. So continuous reformation in response to change of the society. So in this University of Tsukuba, I'd like to share what we have done for the education in the field of agriculture. So here, this slide shows that educational organization for agricultural science in University of Tsukuba. Before, when we were in Tokyo, agricultural sciences were in Faculty of Agriculture. This was until 1973. And when we moved to Tsukuba, this became a bit more comprehensive. Then we changed. All the undergraduate program changed the name from faculty to college, and we became a College of Agriculture and Forestry. This was until 1994. Then 1994, we had a big reconstruction of the education organization. We set up a school as a group of colleges. So we set up a School of Life and Environmental Sciences consisting 3 colleges. And one of the 3 colleges is Agriculture and Forestry, but we changed the name from Agricultural Forestry into Agrobiological Resource Sciences. And other 2 colleges under Life and Environmental Sciences is Biological Sciences and Geosciences. So the last 2 slides, I'd like to show what we have done to minimize the student leaving from agriculture. First thing that we emphasize in this, to cope this situation is we emphasize comprehensiveness of agriculture. So of course, the main line of the agriculture is the crop production, including farming practice, farming management, and agriculture production. But agriculture has other important meanings. One of that is environmental preservation. Some of the students do not realize when we imagine about agriculture. But in Japan, as rapid economic growth, a lot of farmland decrease, then a lot of environmental issues come up. Then we realize that importance of agriculture for environmental preservation. For example, to keep the water, paddy field is quite important. So if we do not have any paddy field, we will have a lot of problem in the water management. So in the university, we do not only teaching the farming, but also we teach this kind of importance of the agriculture for the environmental preservation. Another important thing is that production is not only on crop. Many people are trying to produce energy from agriculture. For example, the biomass energy, like a biogas, bioethanol, or biodiesel. So by introducing the concept of the biorefinery or production of the energy crops, we can produce a lot of biomass energy. So these are the taught in this College of Agrobiological Resource Sciences as well. So in the college, in most of the universities in Japan, the Faculty of Agriculture or College of Agriculture, they have the major of agriculture economics or agriculture engineering. Sometimes these majors are included in the economics or engineering. But in Japan, most of the university have these majors in the agricultural college or faculty. Next would be the student paying interest in the agriculture is also really interested in the social issues. So that we also introduce the concept of the agriculture relation with the social issue in Japan. So the first social issue is low food self-sufficiency rate. This is very different from ASEAN countries. In Japan, the food self-sufficiency rate is very low, around 40% or less. That means most of our food are from abroad. So this is a serious problem. At this moment, we have enough resources to purchase the food from abroad, but we need to solve this problem. Then in this College of Agrobiological Resource Sciences, they teach a lot of courses related with the low food self-sufficiency, how to increase the food sufficiency or productivity of the agriculture. And this is also related with another social issue called the aging society. This is because of the low birth rate and the high long life expectancy in Japan. Farming people, engaging the farming, are quite high age. Average age I've checked is more than 65. So people working in a farm, average age is more than 65. So this is also serious issues. So we are trying to work a lot how to attract young people for the agricultural practice, or how to improve the agricultural practice for the aging people by introducing IT or robots, other things. Another social issue is a natural disaster. I think this is also, we can share some common idea with the Philippines. Tsunami or earthquake, this happens often. And this is closely related with agriculture and the strong impact on the agriculture. We do a lot of education about this one. And next one is the rapid globalization. So the rapid globalization is not only by the food security, but also this also related with the aging society. The farming people are quite high age now. So actually people working in a farm, Japanese average age is quite high, but we have a lot of young people from Asia to work in the farm. I think due to this COVID-19 pandemic, we realize that our agricultural production really depends on the labor or workers from Asia to support our agriculture. And before to engage in the agricultural production in Japan, the foreign people can come to Japan only as a trainee. But 2019, Japanese government changed the law and to open the door for the people who would like to come to Japan as an agricultural business or to do agriculture as a business. Then some young people apply for this business, the visa for agriculture, and they come. So I think in the university, we also teach this kind of situation and how to solve these issues. So I share some idea about how to attract the student to the agriculture major in Japan. And thank you very much for your attention. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nomura, for sharing with us what University of Tsukuba has done to address the challenge of declining enrollment in agriculture, which is also experienced by other higher education institutions in Southeast Asia. Putting emphasis on the importance of agriculture for environmental conservation, agriculture as source of biomass energy, and introducing agriculture in response to social issues, including rapid globalization. Moving on, we'll get back to you, Dr. Nomura. Again, may I remind our online attendees watching this webinar via Facebook Live, so to please type in your questions now in the comment section, including your location or country of origin. If you are tuning in via Zoom, please post your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom or top of your screen, depending on the gadget you are using. Our next speaker this morning is an academician of the National Academy of Science and Technology, or NAST Philippines, and chair of the Agriculture Division, National Academy of Science and Technology. A former executive director of the Philippine Rice Research Institute, his decades of work in research and public education at the University of the Philippines have inspired him to address young minds' curiosity toward plant biotechnology and other scientific farming practices. Our speaker grew up farming rice in Camarines Norte before going to college at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. He earned his master's degree in plant physiology as a SEAMEO SEARCA scholar and went to Cornell University, where he obtained his PhD in plant breeding, minor in international agricultural development. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Academician Eufemio Rasco Jr.
Thank you, SEARCA, for the chance to engage the youth in this conversation about farming. After Dr. Nakao's talk, I think I can cut my talk to about one half, because about one half of what I propose to say has already been said by Dr. Nakao. I imagine that many of our participants are here because they are dreamers. This is a quality associated with young people. Indeed, the first thing that I like our participants to cultivate if they want to help move agriculture forward is the capacity to dream. My talk is addressed primarily to the youth in the Philippines, but the ideas I wish to impart equally apply to other Asian countries. A little conversation, I can motivate some of our participants to help eliminate hunger in our country. This is a problem that has persisted for as long as I can remember. Just how hungry we are today is illustrated by worrisome statistics. While 2/3 of our households do not meet their calorie requirement, 30% of our adults are overweight or obese. What is truly worrisome is malnutrition of children. 1/3 of children below 5 are stunted or suffering from hidden hunger or vitamin deficiency. So why are we hungry? To produce food, we only need 3 basic inputs: sunlight, water, and soil. We may not have enough soil, but we have enough sunlight. Indeed, we are wasting more than 99% of the solar energy that strikes our planet. We have a surplus of water also from the rain, the rivers, lakes, and of course, the ocean. Our vast territorial sea, which is more than 7 times our land area, can more than compensate for our lack of land for food production. So why can't we produce enough food? The quick answer is that we have a shortage of dreamers and doers, young people. Those who can think of possibilities and translate them into reality. Let me assure you that there is a lot of possibilities in agriculture, and technology is constantly expanding these possibilities. Agriculture traditionally covers crops, livestock and poultry, fish and other products from the aquatic environment, including seaweeds and fungi. Agriculture's role is broad. It covers production of food, feed, fibers, energy, enjoyment, such as in ornamental horticulture, raw material for industry, and also for shelter. Recently, new methods of culturing living cells and tissues provided added techniques for food production, giving rise to food products such as meat, milk, or eggs produced without growing animals. Single-cell proteins can be produced using microorganisms. Insects are mass-produced in controlled environment facilities to produce food. These new techniques do not need soil. They use little water, and they are not subject to natural cycles of light, energy, and humidity, very appropriate for our disaster-prone country. Agriculture is just a part of a bigger system that involves trading, processing, retailing, and waste management. The bigger system also involves production of inputs, such as fertilizers, feeds, veterinary products, pesticides, growth promoters, and the like. Specialization in these diverse fields has been the key to efficiency in the traditional sense. Farming, the first step in agriculture, deals with primary production. But without farming, the other components of the agriculture system will not function. Regrettably, in our society, farmers constitute the poorest sector In my view, farmers are poor ultimately because of cultural bias against farming. Farming requires knowledge, a very broad knowledge about plants, soil, water, climate, and the biological environment. It also requires knowledge of the market, economics, prices, laws governing farming, volume and quality requirements. It requires a high level of skill in using technology and native intelligence needed for making day-to-day decisions. So you can imagine how challenging it is to be a farmer. But the family member usually assigned to farming, I think this is true in most of Southeast Asia, the family member usually assigned to farming is the one who cannot pass the entrance exams to schools, or one who has the least ambition, one who does not dream. Society is not doing farming justice by not assigning the best people to farming. The average age of the farmer today is 58 years old in the Philippines. And I note that in Japan, it's more than 65, as Dr. Nakao pointed out. The average Filipino farmer has only 2 years of high school education. Because of this, he's not trusted by the banks. He cannot borrow. And always looking up to the government for subsidy. Typically, he does not encourage his smartest children to farm. Because of this, the cycle of poverty in the farm continues. So if you are well educated and young, you can help break this cycle. The most important frontier for agriculture is growing plants for food. There is no known system that can fully reconstruct the nutritional components and multifunctionality of plants. To begin with, the only major source of food fiber is plants. And food fiber, the value of food fiber is fairly recently recognized. It's needed by our gut microbiota, the microorganisms that inhabit our digestive system and that is responsible for our health and well-being. Without a healthy gut microbiota, it will be impossible for humans to exist normally. Vitamins can be synthesized, but they cannot approximate the complexity of vitamins naturally present in plants. For example, there are many kinds of vitamin E, but only a few are incorporated in synthetic vitamin E that you buy as tablets or capsules. In addition, vitamins interact with other plant components to be effective. Secondly, plants and plant products can be processed by food technologies into food products that taste and have similar nutritional value as meat. Plant agriculture for food is diverging today in two opposite directions. Large-scale specialized monoculture, you see this in rice, coconut, corn, poultry, pigs. But on the other end, you see small-scale diversified farming, and this is exemplified by vegetable growers and those that are involved in small-scale livestock and poultry raising. The large-scale specialized monoculture serves industry primarily. The second one, the small-scale diversified farming, serves the farmer, gives them higher income, the consumer, because they produce nutritious food, and the environment, because the farmers in diversified farming tend to preserve the environment better than those that are involved in large-scale industrial farming. But both of these, industrial farming and small-scale diversified farming, both of them are needed today. But the second one, the small-scale diversified farming, will prevail in the long term because it responds to a wider range of needs and ideally suited to the small farms in the Philippines. Industrialized farming is best suited for crops that are amenable to industrial scale farming, handling and processing, and for large land holdings. Let me use the remaining time to leave 3 take-home lessons for those who are not yet farming, but who want to start farming, especially young people. This is something for them to consider during this pandemic. Start farming by growing plants. This is a guarantee that you will not become irrelevant in the foreseeable future. Plants have lower environmental footprint compared to animals, and plants' multiple functions has no equal among other farming products. The investment and skills required are also less with plants than it is with animals. If your farm is small, aim for high-value, short-season annuals rather than trees. The turnover of crops and capital can be as short as 1 month. If you have capital, a fairly large farm, and you are not in a hurry to become rich from farming, you can start farming as a hobby, then diversify to tourism and training. Expand as your knowledge and confidence grows. I emphasize tourism and training. This is the popular mode by which starting farmers go into farming. And it's very useful for society because it provides training for beginning farmers. But be sure you have a marketing plan. Remember, one doesn't make money by farming. He makes money by selling. A good way to start is to piggyback on established farmers. Other options are online selling. This is very popular today. You can do this directly or through organizations such as Agrea, farmers markets, and wholesale markets. Lastly, do not just be a plant farmer. Integrate vertically and horizontally. Process or sell your products directly to consumers. Reduce external inputs by using whatever is available in the farm. Reduce waste. Use local resources, but do this one step at a time, learning by doing. This is a guarantee that farming can be good for the pocket, the environment, and the consumer. From farming plants, one can diversify into livestock and poultry, as plants are the main sources of feeds. Very important, study before starting to farm and continue to study. I would start, if I have to start farming today, I would start by visiting agri-tourism sites, as these are usually operated by values-driven individuals. Learn from them. Profit is important, but there are other equally important values, such as caring for the environment, health and nutrition of consumers, and animal welfare. While there are many technologies that can be used in farming, the most basic for diversified farms are those that come from knowledge of ecology and biotechnology. Examples of these are biofertilizers, biopesticides, and genetically modified crops. There is no shortage of farming tips coming from government, universities, and the private sector. You can join a webinar almost on a daily basis, and you can learn farming techniques from these webinars. I like to leave 2 parting words. The first one, the reward of farming is not money. It's not only money. It is keeping society and the environment healthy. And secondly, an individual who is motivated by values is usually the one who perseveres amidst difficulties and rise again after falling. This is true in farming as in all other activities, but especially true in farming, because in farming, there are too many risks: financial, weather, and you can have a lot of products to sell, but no buyers. That happens a lot of time to beginning farmers. Thank you for being part of this conversation, and I look forward to your inputs.
Thank you also, Dr. Rasco. It is an honor to have you with us this morning. Thank you for this very enlightening presentation, reminding us that, and I quote, we have a shortage of dreamers and doers, those who can think of possibilities and translate them into reality. Also for reminding us that agriculture is not just about planting, it's not just about farming, but it is part of a bigger system that includes trading, processing, retailing, and waste management. Dr. Rasco gave us 3 take-home lessons this morning, and I hope everyone has taken note of that. First is start farming by growing. Second is do not just be a plant farmer. We integrate vertically and horizontally. And third, we study before starting farming and continue to study because learning is a never-ending process. Okay, so moving on, our last, but certainly not the least, speaker and our lone female speaker in today's webinar is Dr. Doracie Zoleta-Nantes, who is currently the university president of the Southern Luzon State University in the province of Quezon. She also served as the college president of the Aurora State College of Technology and conducted initial explorations on providing access to higher education among the Dumagats and Agta of Aurora province. She was involved in a research and development project with the University of Reading on improving the productivity of agriculture and fisheries of indigenous peoples in Northern Aurora, which was funded by the Newton Agham Institutional Links Grant. She has broad research interests on the intertwined concerns of human settlements, community development, rural-urban migration, natural hazards and disaster risk reductions, gender, and resource management. Our speaker holds a baccalaureate degree in human ecology from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, a Master of Arts in Geography from the University of Hawaii in Manoa Campus, Hawaii, and a PhD in Geography. Dr. Nantes, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, ma'am. First off, I'd like to thank Dr. Rico for inviting me last Friday to be part of this webinar. I took the opportunity of sharing our concerns here at the Southern Luzon State University because I'm sure that this is a very important time for us to network with other universities and institutions so that we really can move together in curtailing youth disengagement in agriculture. And I think that everyone is aware as to how important the SUCs are in putting into the front the agricultural production concerns of any nation in the world. Presenting you with the outline of the presentation, a brief discussion, and I think that I have mentioned it already, about the role of state universities and colleges in agricultural development. I'd like to present basic information on how SUCs became a wide observer, and of course, we learned, okay, based from our experience, a decreasing trend in enrollment to agriculture courses. And so I will present some figure and graphs that will show this trend. I will also present the impacts, okay, both observed and projected of disengagement in agriculture among our young students on the following concerns: food security, agricultural development, alleviation of rural poverty. And shortly, I will mention some things that pertain to gender issues, particularly in rural areas. And the last topic is what are the things that we are doing in SLSU, in the Southern Luzon State University, in revitalizing the interests of young people to get into the field of agriculture, forestry, and environmental science. I don't know if I can make it in 50 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, so let's proceed. I think that everyone is aware that the UP, or the University of the Philippines in Los Baños, is the first school of agriculture in not only in the UP system, but also in the Philippines. It actually provided us a role model, okay, in starting an agricultural related curricular program. And what I'd like to emphasize is all these things we're doing in our respected SUCs. We do instruction, we get involved in actual food production, we train our students using the plots and our farm spaces. Together with other colleges, we cooperate as to how can we produce small-scale technologies which are useful not only to the scientists, but also to the farmers who will be end users of these technologies, and involve them in piloting and testing of these technologies. And all these things we incorporate in another function of SUCs, which is undertaking extension programs. And everyone is aware also, if you are Filipino, that there are over 100 SUCs that offer courses and degree programs in agriculture and forestry. One thing that is really interesting, however, is that even if we are an agricultural country, as I highlighted here, only 2.8% of students who are enrolled in SUCs are studying agriculture, forestry, and fisheries degree programs. And for me, it's a bit bothering because if you're going to look at our statistics in relation to percentage of Filipinos are working in this sector, agriculture still is one of the major employers, or the one that provided employment to a majority of our population. And when you talk about the initiatives of SUCs in helping agricultural development in the country, they're all supported by laws and also by institutional directives. And of course, the Southern Luzon State University is part of the SUC groups under the Commission on Higher Education, which cooperates with the Department of Agriculture and other government agencies in coming up with studies that will help definitely improve the quality of instruction that we provide, not only in agriculture, but in other disciplines. I think that everyone is familiar with the NAFES. And I just provided this quote here because if you're going to look at the things that are being undertaken by SUCs in collaboration with other government institutions, you can see the amount of work and institutional commitment that should be provided, not only by the government, but the different sectors in our society. And it's really a challenging feat. So before I proceed, because I'm going to give you the experiences of the Southern Luzon State University's College of Agriculture. As a case in point, I'm going to use our information and statistics to back up some of the things that I'm going to present and argue this morning. Just a brief history. I'm not going to read them all, but you can do so after I have finalized the presentation. Our College of Agriculture informally started in 1977 with 3 students, but the creation of a School of Agriculture was actually in 1980. And at the time, we only have 3 students, 2 males and 1 female. And we have come far. Let me just tell you that I will not brag about the achievements of the Southern Luzon State University. I just would like to mention that considering the things that I am presenting here, the SLSU has done its part in really developing a high quality higher education program in the field of agriculture. What I want to focus our attention, however, is that even if the SLSU, and I'm going to call your attention in the year 2019, that our College of Agriculture was ranked 7th in 2019 Best Agriculture School in the Philippines and ranked 10th in Best Forestry School in the Philippines. Still, we encounter some problems. And also, I just want to show quickly here that even if we have some of the facilities that are going to support good agriculture education, such as the following: our laboratories, our different equipment that are open and are being used by our students and our faculty members, topping it with the most recent facilities and technologies, such as our GIS and AgEng laboratories. Still, we are encountering some problems when it comes to increasing the number of enrollees in our College of Agriculture. So what we did was we called a lot of information about our registration. I'd like to point your attention on the years 2015. That was the peak of our enrollment, okay, in the College of Agriculture with 2,125 students. At this point, the females have outnumbered the males already. I just want to show this information because Dr. Rico told me to discuss some gender concerns in this brief presentation also. And what I'm showing you, as you can see from this graph, is that increasingly through the years, our female enrollment has gone higher than the male enrollment. And this is true in all of our curricular programs, in the agricultural technology program, in environmental science program. The yellow, by the way, I don't know what color is appearing in your screen. Okay, sorry. Okay, and the blue refers to the female. The male, okay, apologies. Thus, you can see that it's true in environmental science, in forestry. And what I want to highlight, however, is this experience of decline in enrollment is not only true in the Southern Luzon State University. In fact, in the CMO of CHED, it reported that there was a 50% decline of enrollment in agriculture, fisheries, and forestry, and veterinary medicine from 1999, 2000 to 2010, 2011. And I'd like to highlight and discuss the reasons why we experience this decline. I'd like to relate with the things that were mentioned by our academician. There's really a problem of financial resource availability among our poor farmers. I think that everyone is familiar with the fact that if your parents are farmers, oftentimes the children will become farmers too, not because of culture or any other reason that we can cite. I think it's about orientation to the work and also the experience and education that actual training and education that they get growing up in a farming family. And I think that I'd like to highlight that because there's so much information that is gathered by children of farming population. The problem, however, is that even if they want to continue and make their approaches in a more scientific manner, most of them are really poor and thus they cannot afford college or tertiary education. And this is one thing that I'd like us to pay a lot of attention to. Of course, we have ASEF and other programs that provide scholarship to our poor students enrolled in the field of agriculture. But I think that we have to allocate more financial assistance, both in the form of scholarship grants and most importantly, in financial assistance among those who are doing well but not outstanding students. Because if we are just going to provide scholarship grants to the most academically to the most intelligent, we are actually not paying attention to a bigger number of students in agriculture, which are categorized as average students. The inability to pay fees and the lack of financial assistance and scholarship grants is one of the major reasons why we have a decline in the enrollment in agriculture-related courses. There are also other studies undertaken by the different SUCs in the country. And I think that I just want them to maybe later on share their experiences because of funding needs. Oftentimes, there is a dearth of financial resources that are available in most SUCs in enhancing not only the contents of the curricular programs in agriculture, but also in the provision of facilities, not only in the school, but outside of the school, when they do on-farm activities and extension activities. More resources should be directed in that area. I think that we also need to revisit the need to assist the local government units when it comes to funding agricultural programs, because everyone, I think, has an idea that the resources of the local government units are not that big, and thus even if the agriculturists would like to get into to do some programs, they are limited by the limited funding that they get from their budget officer. There is also this wide-scale observation that most of the young, they don't want to get into farming because it's a physically challenging job. And I think that they are eyeing more opportunities in getting into jobs and studying about IT or information technology and other disciplines that does not require a lot of physical exertion. And of course, in some cases, but this is a prevalent observation, I think, most of our not so wealthy students, they have to stop schooling because they need to work to help provide for their family. And the decrease in enrollment actually has adverse implications on our natural resources development. I will just enumerate here some of the things that I find more important at this point. I will not get into each of them because I think that most of you will have an idea already of the problems that I am enumerating here. If there will be less students who will get into agriculture-related programs, there will be less practitioners in the field of farming, management, and food production operating on a more science-based module or way of doing things. And we will have less of these researchers, farm production workers, laboratory technicians, and it will have implications on the production of our resources, which are needed by the industrial sector. And we know that this value chain, okay, is very important to consider. Of course, the importance of agricultural resources as part of the products that we export is also needing to be, it also needs to be highlighted here. And that's on the national level. I'd like us to focus on the home or household level. We will have less opportunities for gaining or for gainful employment and provision of livelihood to millions of households in the country who will be benefited by some of the developments in the science of agriculture. And as a result, there will be an increase in incidence of poverty. And we know that when we talk about poverty, they're not equally experienced by everyone. And I just want to mention that there's a lot of studies indicating that in the agricultural sector, the women are among the most poor because their contribution in agricultural production oftentimes are not paid. Or if they get paid, they are paid less. Now, I guess what I was asked to share are the things that we are doing here at the Southern Luzon State University in addressing the concerns that I enumerated earlier. What we are doing is we actively go to different schools and convince our high school students to get into agriculture. And when we do these things, we cannot just tell them that agriculture-related courses are the best courses to take. We need to present them and convince them, okay, that this is really a good discipline to be part of, because it will offer them more opportunities for improvement as they practice their profession in the future. And we are coming up with a list of more innovative approaches to make them realize that the agriculture that the idea of doing their work in agriculture has changed considerably already. I also would like to highlight the importance of us working with the local government units, because this is the place where most of our students can find collaboration opportunities and, of course, employment later on, be it part of the government agency list or the number of agencies that operate at the local government, but opportunities for undertaking small-scale and middle-scale livelihood entrepreneurial initiatives. I will present another slide later that will talk about gender, so I'm not going to discuss this at this point. What I would like to highlight, however, is how we in SLSU has been working with the extension unit, part of our mandate as a higher educational institution that offers agriculture. Thus, the College of Agriculture programs are being done in collaboration with our extension unit. And this is a very important activity that really educates our students and provide them with experiential learning. Of course, at this point, because of the pandemic, we are actually very challenged as to how we will deal with this thing. As I mentioned earlier, one of the innovative thing that we're doing is we also encourage our students to collaborate with students and faculty members of the industrial technology sector, because there's a lot of small scale and middle scale farming implements and facilities, okay, or equipment that we can use in order to increase and enhance food production. Here, for example, in Quezon, most of the time we cannot use the big tractors, although during our interaction with high school students, they always get interested with these big tractors. Like it's like a toy, well, an opportunity for them, okay, to get into industrial farming. But you can see from the pictures that we are showing our students that agriculture has gone far from what it was before. We have small farm implements that will avoid those infamous back-breaking and tiring activities. We also tell our students, and we incorporate it in our programs, that there is a need for more entrepreneurial farmers in the country. And it's actually highlighting the role that agribusiness can do in making our students realize that the business component of agriculture is one of the threads that we should enhance here at the SLSU. Well, here I indicated that it's good to encourage our students to be involved in OJTs in other developed countries. I think that the CHED has several programs involving sending our agriculture students to Japan, Israel, the United States, and other countries. I think that this has to be explored further because not only does it offer training and additional set of knowledge on modern agriculture, it also offers a different perspective on how you can do business associated farming. The other thing is we are following the thing that was presented by Dr. Nomura. We are connecting agriculture in environmental management, in things that are considered by young people today as worthy of their time and attention, such as highlighting animal welfare as we do our animal livestock lessons, addressing urban agriculture, and as I mentioned earlier, getting into small and middle scale agribusiness ventures. I think that there was a mention by our academician that ecotourism is one good way of convincing our students that the agricultural production initiatives that they will be doing can be tied up with other activities that will give them more income. And one of that is the agricultural tourism that is becoming prevalent now here in Quezon and also in Laguna. This is one way of enticing the young students that there are many opportunities that await them as they get into the field of agriculture. The other thing is we also address some social science concerns, as indicated by Dr. Nomura earlier. The general trend in development in most countries today is the increase in the number of megacities. And we know the problems associated with supporting the food requirements of megacities. And these are some of the things that we include in our discussions. Urban agriculture, of course, is part of the discussion, but the profitability of a continuous set of buyers or of agricultural products on a daily basis is one thing that we are making them more aware of. And this is something that I'd like to highlight at this point. And I'm really encouraged that right now, the number of females in our student population in the College of Agriculture has increased considerably. If you're going to look at the publication of the Philippine Association of Women, which related the conditions in the countryside with the gender inequalities, particularly in relation to improving the lives of women, one of the things that we make clear as we recruit high school students is that we highlight the employment possibilities and also the things that can benefit women as they address some of the culturally based and socially embedded problems pertaining to gender inequities. And thus we make our female students aware that agriculture will actually provide them gainful employment, more access to technologies, and will highlight the importance of women's labor in the field of agriculture, which I mentioned earlier, is often under-rewarded, less noticed, and not given importance. Of course, the entrepreneurial opportunities that will allow women to get into not only the primary production activities, but distribution and also coming up with secondary products that will avoid the wastage of agricultural produce and will also provide them with additional income, which will make them primary producers or entrepreneurial actors who will get into the business of marketing and selling agricultural products. And the last item here, and there are so many others, but I just prioritize these three, is a scientific knowledge and a formal training in agriculture will actually allow women and will give them the credentials to be part of the agricultural extension, managerial decision-making activities. And as we always say in our discussions on many different topics, it will, we are hoping, okay, that there will be more active participants in making policies and laws and be part of the activities that matter in allocation of resources, funding, and other things that will allow them to be active participants in planning and project implementation activities. The other thing that we are making them realize is that agriculture related courses do not only expect one to be interested in agriculture, because if you're going to look at the syllabus or the syllabi of different agricultural related courses, it's very clear that just to argue, okay, on one of the things that was presented earlier, that an agriculturalist need not be very intelligent. That's not true. In fact, we make our students aware that you need excellent mechanical inclination, scientific inclination, planning skills, and analytical and critical thinking skills. And if you're going to look at the syllabi, you need a lot of math and science, and this makes agriculture a more or as equally competitive as the other disciplines that we offer here in SLSU. The other thing that we are actively doing is educating the parents. And of course, this is something that is difficult to do, and making them realize that there are many opportunities that await graduates of agricultural courses. And what I have here is a long list, and there are still other jobs that await our students in agriculture. And I think that this is something that should be given attention also by the different agencies in our country. There are so many things that I'd like to share with you in order to curtail the disengagement among the young in agriculture, and also some discussions on how important they are in addressing some of the social ills or problems in society. But I have overspent my time. What I can tell you is that we will continue on doing this, and hopefully the government will provide more resources in order to improve the way we teach and the way we train the primary backbone, okay, of our economy, agriculture and agriculturalists. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, President Nantes, for that very comprehensive presentation on what Southern Luzon State University is doing to address the disengagement of youth in agriculture. And one of these, notably one of these strategies is through innovative approaches. You know, as you also mentioned about strengthening your linkage with the local government unit. You have also programs on enhancing gender equality, and you also provide agriculture training and extension services, and so many other approaches or solutions to increase the enrollment in agriculture. Yes, we agree with you. We need to really put more emphasis. We really have to spend more time discussing this on how we can move forward, on how we could improve the active participation, actively engage the youth in agriculture and in rural development. Thank you so much, Dr. Nantes. We now move on to the Q&A. As I mentioned earlier, this morning's Q&A will be moderated by my colleague, Mr. Nathan Felix Perez. And Nathan is SEARCA's Public Relations Associate. Over to you, Nathan.
Thank you, Kim. For the first question of the question and answer portion, all right, so this is directed to Dr. Nantes, all right? So a while ago, you mentioned that one of the strategies to entice students to take up agriculture is to increase the number of scholarships available or financial assistance offered to students. Has this created a positive trend in the enrollment in agriculture courses in your university?
Yeah, our experience with the provision of ASEF scholarship and some local scholarships that are provided by farm owners here in Quezon are a testimony to what I shared with you earlier. I think that we need to recognize the fact that in most SUCs, those who are enrolled in agriculture-related courses are coming from farming families also, or farming communities. And the reason for such is not because they have no other option, but there is this intelligent decision that was made by them, which is associated with continuing and improving the farm practices and food production or agricultural production that they are doing in their households or in their farming communities. This is true not only here in Southern Luzon State University. I spent 4 years of my life in Central Luzon region, and most of the best schools in the country are actually housed in the Central Luzon or Region 3. And thus, if you're going to look at the trends of enrollment, say for example in Aurora State College of Technology, where I previously worked, and also with the Tarlac Agricultural University, Central Luzon State University, and other very good schools. Apologies to my friends in Central Luzon na hindi ko nasabi ang inyong pangalan. But if you're going to look at the socioeconomic profile of students who are enrolled in agriculture-related courses, you will realize that there's a need for more financial assistance. And I think that the government has to invest on this. You mentioned earlier, and it was mentioned earlier, that the average age of farmers in the country has gone up to 58. I thought it was 57, and then I realized that it was last year. So what will we do? Okay, if we run out of farmers who will cultivate our lands and be engaged in farm management and food production, and I'd like to say that this generation of trained in a scientific manner of agriculturalists will combine both the things that they have learned from experience from their parents and the instruction based on science, on agricultural science from the schools. So we will be seeing a scenario wherein graduates of agriculture will have better ways of looking at things, better ways of doing things. And I think that we should encourage and get more, shall we say, coalition among us to really request the government to invest on our agriculture students, particularly those who will really return to farming communities. And this is the majority of people or young students who are enrolled in agriculture in most of our state universities and colleges. And it's not just in Region 3 or in Region 4, but in other parts of the country. Thank you, Nathan.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Nantes. Now for our second question. This question is addressed to Dr. Somsaman of SEAMEO. All right. So the question is, what other programs that SEAMEO has been doing at present, aside from being mentioned, okay, to encourage our youth to enter agricultural courses and other programs?
Thank you, Nathan. There's a lot of opportunity for agriculture, but I would look at this question at different perspective, because we are discussing that the enrollment of our agricultural student is dwindling. But from another perspective, it's currently the academic discipline, it's becoming cross-disciplinary study. So the need that we need the involvement of agricultural student or agricultural issue or subject in a lot of area, such as currently a lot of programs starting the smart farming. And in terms of learning of smart farming or exploring the smart farming issue, there will be need the knowledge of farming of agriculture. Also, the Internet of Things, with developing sensor, developing a lot of technology behind that, would need the knowledge of farming, knowledge of agriculture also. So what is the attempt that we do? It's the study of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which involve agriculture. Let me provide you an example of my history. I was before joining SEAMEO Secretariat, with the research organization. And what we have done is we work in collaboration with Japan, JAXA. We sent a seed of chili onto space and getting back the seed to the earth and plant it on the earth. And we study how much the difference between the seed that has been sent to space and the seed that hasn't been there. So we use the knowledge of agriculture in terms of study the plant, the process of developing the planting. And also the other thing, for science technology, we study of how we can send cassava to space. They are exploring the journey to Mars and how we can make food during the transportation, the travel to Mars. So how can we plant some food in space during the traveling period? How to cultivate algae for energy. And also the other thing that I have seen, and in terms of science technology, in terms of STEM, it's the study of photosynthesis using satellite, using drone. So we can see the activity of the plant and of the agriculture, using the knowledge of agriculture that which is needed. So agriculture is actually embedded to other disciplines, and we need the people from agriculture. We need knowledge of agriculture in other. So one thing, it's the example that I'm raising is we study STEM. We have another center with STEM education, and we need, in order to study STEM, we need subject. We need all the knowledge of other in terms of especially agriculture. We experience a lot in this COVID-19 pandemic. We need food, and we cannot import it from other countries during all the restriction. And the agriculture in the country, it's especially important, and it is in need. And we need the knowledge internally, and we need the scientific knowledge. And in terms of the future, we need cross-disciplinary study, and agriculture is one of the needed subject to advance in terms of all the technology. That would be my answer on this. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Somsaman. Now, this question is addressed to all the speakers. So to anyone who wants to give their insights and their answer, please, you may do so. So for the next question, which is addressed to all the speakers, a recent study showed that access to information, lack of credit, and negative perceptions around farming are the leading reasons why young people are leaving farming at such an alarming rate. How do you motivate the youth, in concrete terms, to go back to farming or to actively engage in agriculture? So maybe Dr. Nomura, if you can give your insights.
Yeah, I have seen similar trends in Japan, and in my presentation, I introduced the historical background of agricultural science in the university, and there was a time that we changed the name of the faculty from agriculture to agrobiological resource sciences, and there was a big argument about that one. Some faculty or professor would like to stick to agriculture, but some say that agriculture has a bit strong stereotypic image to the student about the farming or touching the soil or manual works like that. So, but nowadays agriculture covers different fields. So it's better to change the name to show that those farming practice and the other things totally holistic under the agrobiological resource sciences. Then we try it. And actually, after changing the name from agriculture to agrobiological resources, the application from the student jumped up. And it worked. And those who did not, were not interested in the farming actually, but they came to study. And during 4 years study, they study about what is the importance of the farming or food production. And they go into the line of real agriculture. So the actually agriculture, the words, terminology has a bit stereotypic image for the young people. So the changing name will be one option, but in Japan, in my university we did. And other Japanese universities, most of the universities changed the name from agriculture to bioresources or agrobiological resources. That's the trend in Japan, and most of the universities increase the number of applications. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nomura. Now maybe may we now hear from Academician Eufemio Rasco.
I tend to agree with Dr. Nakao. The woke generation, the millennials, maybe they are turned off by the term agriculture or farming. They tend to associate it with dirty work. And I think there is a tendency for young people to move away from this. But, well, based on my own presentation, there are trends today that we need to communicate to prospective farmers. On one hand, we see industrialization of agriculture, that is trying to produce commodities like rice, corn, poultry, and pigs in large scale, using modern technology, including the use of drones, as mentioned earlier, information technology, the most advanced chemical pesticides, etc. That's one trend. And in the Philippines, that trend is being supported by the Department of Agriculture. They have this program of clustering farms so that these small farms can be operated as big industrial farms. The other trend, which is being espoused by, I would say, the more educated farmers, is small-scale farming that is integrated. It's not only production of plants, they go into production of poultry, even mushrooms, fish in the same farm. They produce all this in an integrated manner. For example, if you are a rice farmer, you need not be a rice farmer all your life. I mean, you can use the rice straw to produce mushrooms, and the spent substrate from mushrooms can be used for animal feeds. And the manure from feeds can be used to produce for vermiculture, to produce fertilizers. And of course, the vermicast can then be applied to rice and other plants. So this type of production is more suitable in small farms. And it's suited for our situation where the average farm is really very small. The average rice farm is only about 1 hectare. And for corn and coconut, maybe around 2. And this tends to decrease with every generation, because then when the land is inherited by children, it's divided up into as many children as there are in the family. The other trend, which is prospectively more attractive, is urban farming in controlled environments. I think you must have seen models of farms that are, food production, not exactly farms, being done in container vans, very small space, but this is totally environment controlled. They control the quality and intensity of light, humidity, temperature. So it's practically independent of what's going on outside. It uses very little water, and of course it doesn't use soil at all. It doesn't need land, but it requires a lot of energy, and it's of course knowledge intensive. In urban farms, this is very appropriate, and in our visioning exercise, we see this happening in the future in, for example, high-rise buildings like condominium. Maybe one floor there might be required by law to be used for food production in the manner of controlled environment production. This leads me to another issue, that is training farmers. Our traditional agriculture courses do not cover this type of controlled environment farming. In the Philippines, for example, the matter of controlled environment farming has actually migrated from the College of Agriculture to UP Diliman, where they are doing this in collaboration with the College of Engineering, because this type of controlled environment activity is dependent on engineering knowledge, how to design the proper structures and the proper environment that is favorable for food production. So what I'm saying is that perhaps we should also start looking at agricultural curricula. Is this modern food production that doesn't use soil and use very little water? Is this still agriculture, or is this something else? Is there, well, I call it controlled environment food production. There must be a better term for it.
Regarding access to information, this is really true. I think that the reason why in the past the middle business persons, or the thing that we usually call middlemen, why they thrived greatly in the past is because they control information. The other thing is some of the reasons why most of our farmers suffered heavy losses associated with natural hazards such as typhoon occurrences, drought, is because they lack this very important information. And this is where I'd like to highlight the importance of increasing the connectivity of young farmers, more particularly, because they know how to use the information technology in relation to getting relevant information, both on a short scale and long scale basis. I'd like to highlight what the DICT, or the Department of Information and Communications Technology, is doing at this point. And I'm sure that it will really increase the connectivity of farmers in all places of the country, particularly in rural areas where we don't have the globe towers or the smart towers. And we know that these corporations are operating on profit basis. The ICT is going to is going to provide access to Wi-Fi and enhanced connectivity in various parts of the country. And I think that we need to pay attention to this because like most urban dwellers or most educated sectors in our country today and in other nations, we get info about weather and other about market, possible sellers and buyers using the internet. And I think that this is a very good opportunity and should be explored and be given assistance, not only by the Department of Agriculture, but also, as I mentioned earlier, the DICT in collaboration with the local government authorities. I want to comment also on the importance of credit there have been a lot of studies undertaken in different countries in the provision of credits which are so different from how the banks, the formal banking and financial institutions do it. I think that this is something that should be well researched again by our different government agencies, those who are involved in cooperatives, in provision of extension programs, and those who are doing work in agricultural research. How do we really provide financial assistance and access to credits to a majority of farmers in the country which lack titles to what do you call them? I forgot. For mortgage, okay? Or they don't have savings or membership in some financial association which will vouch for their capacity to pay if they will incur small or middle scale amounts of loans. I think that more research should be given here, because it's true, lack of credit and access to financial support really puts our small farmers in a very difficult situation. And lastly, I'd like to again highlight the importance of educating not only the young, but also the parents of these young students about the set of developments that have materialized in the field of agriculture. I think that everyone should stop portraying the countryside using the Carabao and a farmer as a way to depict our agriculture. Of course, it's true. A majority of our farmers still use the Carabaos for plowing and tilling the fields. But as I've shown in the presentation, we have lots of technologies and that are available also for use by the small farmers and middle-scale farmers. I also think that the Department of Agriculture and the Philippine Information Agency should provide more advertisements on what products, okay, to cultivate. For example, the high-value products, the things that command high prices, and more importantly, when to do it and when not to do it, because those things actually affect the profitability, and it has influence on how some people look at the risks associated with planting high-value products. So I think that it's good that that question was raised, because these are some of the concerns that we should be paying attention to. And I think that the SUCs who are offering agriculture-related courses have the information and the training, okay, to provide our young students with this knowledge and strategies that they can use in order to address them. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nantes, for sharing. How about you, Dr. Somsaman? Maybe you would like to also give a response to the question, sir?
Thank you, Nathan. I also agree with the former speaker on the renaming, and I mean not actually the renaming, but all the issue of the changing the curriculum of the agriculture in terms of the become a modern agriculture. Because as I mentioned earlier, that smart farming or IoT and all the other technology which involved in agriculture could help enhance the student interested in the agriculture subject. Well, I'm thinking about a couple of indications in my life. One of the computer game that people play a lot in the world is Farmville. And Farmville is about agriculture. That's the indicator here. It's people still interested in farming. They're playing it in computer, but they might not have the actual opportunity to spend with the actual farming. So people still have the interest in farming, in agriculture, but they might not have the opportunity. But technology, it's bringing them there. A lot of activities, just like Professor Eufemio say about urban farming in controlled environment. This is another thing that I have experienced a lot, that the research organization has studied how to do farming, do agriculture in the controlled environment, and especially maybe into tissue culture on the developing meat, developing plant from developing meat from plant. And so people still have interested in farming, but how can we bring the opportunity to them using technology, using modern technology, using different environment? Thank you, Nathan.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Somsaman. We still have a lot of questions lined up, but I am also mindful of the time that we have for the webinar. Rest assured that we will be sending your comments and questions to our speakers, and they will address them as soon as possible. But before we close this webinar, may I request our dear speakers for some closing or takeaway message?
May I start, Nathan?
Yes, po, Dr. Nantes.
Yeah, I really would like to thank Semio and, of course, SEARCA for organizing this event. It's really timely. It's really timely, okay, that we focus our attention on attracting a good number of our young students to get into agriculture. The initiatives that are being undertaken by the SUCs are very good ones, but this needs to be enhanced by joint efforts that maybe we can do in collaboration with not only government agencies but private corporations. I think that it is important that we include in our educational initiatives, not only in the curricular programs of agriculture. So I want that information dissemination should start at the primary school and secondary school level. The kids need to be informed of all the possibilities and all the opportunities that agriculture can provide to them if they so choose to get involved in food production and cultivation of resources, primary resources that will really fuel our economy. And I'd like to, as an educator and part of this SUC group, I think that that's one of the things that I would like us to consider. Start informing them young, okay, at a young age. Okay, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be with you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nantes. Now may we call Dr. Rasco.
Well, the current pandemic is a perfect opportunity for many young people to learn about farming and learn it by doing. There are many programs by government, while SEARCA, of course, is also involved, and the private sector that aims to help home gardeners, urban gardeners, go into farming. Since farming requires a lot of commitment and time, there is no better time than today because they are out of school, they're only watching Netflix. So why not take some time to learn how to produce food? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Rasco. Now may we call Dr. Nomura.
Okay. Again, I'd like to extend my gratitude to the SEAMEO SEARCA to provide opportunity. And I think this is a very good timing to have this focus because under this pandemic situation, all of the classes in the university, higher education institution are online in Japan. That means we cannot do any practical courses like farming or experimental laboratory class. Students in the agricultural major are missing those opportunities. Then now we are thinking how to attract them again to the agriculture. Some students start feeling hopeless about this situation, but we will find a way to attract them to the agriculture. And as soon as possible, I think an international cooperation could solve this problem. And again, I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nomura. And last but not the least, may we call Dr. Somsaman.
Would like to thank you, SEARCA, for providing this opportunity. And I really love their SOLVE program a lot. I think it's very wonderful and very timely and useful for everyone. I think the need and the interest in agriculture is still abundant. Like, and we can see during the COVID-19 pandemic, the way to strengthen the academic field of agriculture is in terms of doing the cross-disciplinary study with other field of study. Also, as I mentioned, we have a searching interest in terms of smart farm, in terms of the IoT and sensor. Biotechnology, it's one thing that the SEAMEO it's trying to push into the future. We have precision farming, we have the technology of the satellite communication. We have everything in here. We need to merge them together and to producing something new, something interesting. And I think that agriculture is the fundamental of everything here.
Once again, with SEARCA, led by our director, Dr. Glenn Gregorio, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Somsaman, Dr. Nomura, Dr. Rasco, and Dr. Nantes for taking the time to join us this morning. Thank you for your presentations, which enlightened us on the different ways and means on how to address the challenges of gender and youth in agricultural and rural development, as well as on how to create and innovate solutions and opportunities. So to synthesize everything this morning, we learned from the talk of Dr. Somsaman that SEAMEO indeed provides several opportunities for the youth. Thank you for giving us an overview of some of SEAMEO's initiatives which involve youth, including Southeast Asia TVET, Sea Teacher, ESD Award, and the newly established lecture series that shall commence on August 6th, which is tomorrow, about the mobility and teaching innovations in the new normal. Let us continue to enrich our understanding of science and technology and its great potential by joining their webinar that is free and open to public. Again, thank you, Dr. Somsaman. Kritsachai Somsaman. Complementing on SEAMEO's opportunities in agricultural and rural development, Dr. Nomura shared to us this morning how agricultural sciences as a study field in Tsukuba, Japan, flourish and serve as an opportunity for higher education institutions. Also, thank you for giving us a glimpse of the University of Tsukuba and your institution's mission in lifelong commitment to the creation of knowledge in gearing towards agricultural comprehensiveness and response to social issues in Japan. Once again, thank you, Dr. Nomura. Kokoro no sokokara koreo anata ni wakachi ate korete arigatou gozaimasu, Sensei Nomura-chan. Lastly, the presentations of Dr. Rasco and Dr. Nantes tackled key lessons and important takeaways for the youth to be actively engaged in agriculture and ways on how educators design programs and approaches for the youth to study agriculture. We are one with you in this endeavor, and we appreciate the experiences and the best practices you both shared to recalibrate and to revitalize existing strategies. We also appreciate your sincerity in reinforcing our youth to dream deep and to never stop dreaming for and by our agricultural community. Same with our educators, to never stop cultivating and facilitating learning and pedagogy that shall enrich our learners' knowledge, attitudes, and practices in agriculture. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Rasco and Dr. Nantes. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras ngayong umaga. So let me call once again my colleague, Ms. Kim, one of SEARCA's program specialists, for some important announcements. Back to you, Kim.
Thank you, Nathan, for joining me in today's webinar and for moderating the Q&A. So as mentioned, we will forward your questions to our speakers, and I'm pretty sure that they will be more than glad to address your questions and comments. So that ends our webinar this morning. But before we close, please let us know what you think about this webinar by clicking on the link to a quick feedback form, which will be posted in the SEARCA FB event page. And if you are registered via Zoom, you will be redirected to the feedback form before you leave the webinar room. Your feedback is important to us to help us improve the webinar. For those who wish to request for e-certificates for participating in today's webinar, please visit the link shown on your screen. Please note that we will only accommodate requests for e-certificates within 24 hours after the end of this webinar session. Please make sure to type in your correct name and email address. Thank you for your understanding and patience. Please join us again for our next online conversation next week, August 12 at 10 a.m., same time. And this will be hosted by Nathan. Next week's SOLVE webinar will focus on empowering future leaders in Southeast Asia. We have an interesting lineup of speakers who will take us to Africa and Colombia and learn from these young people and future leaders who have made a lifelong commitment to actively engage in agriculture and bring about a positive change through innovative, development-focused solutions. Once again, let us help one another get through this COVID-19 pandemic. We hope that as we go along, we will be able to create a community of better, bigger, and smarter farmers and farming families. This is Kim Bantayan for SEARCA. Stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.